So I'd like to continue our lesson on searching by exploring some other databases that are available to you. One of these databases is Academic Search Premier. And the way you get to this database is you go under Find, and then you choose Databases. And again, this will give you an A to Z listing of all databases. And you can see Academic Search Premier is the first one listed here. Academic Search Premier is a secondary resource that uses EBSCOhost as the search engine. This secondary database contains articles from a wide variety of medical disciplines. It is designed specifically for academic institutions and is a multidisciplinary full-text database containing full text from more than 4,600 journals, including 3,900 peer-reviewed titles. In addition to providing full text for the article, this database offers indexing and abstracting services for 8,500 journals. Academic Search Premier contains not only scholarly articles from Medline, but also magazines and newspapers covering a wide array of topics. Be careful though, because this database contains magazines and trade organization periodicals, which have articles that are not considered as rigorous as those found in medical journals. You may want to limit your search to scholarly or peer-reviewed articles. So for an example, let's search articles about anticonvulsant use in fibromyalgia. So again, I would go up to my search field and put in anticonvulsant. And I can try to map this to a subject term. You can also check the box that says suggest subject terms. And then I would also put in fibromyalgia and hit the search button. And you can see that I can see the details of my search here: subject, anticonvulsants, and fibromyalgia. And I can see I received 30 articles. Again, I can review the titles to decide if I would like that article or not. I can change my options here under page options, where I could see the standard, which includes the abstract. Right now I only have brief, which shows the title. But again, I would like to limit my results. You can see that most of them are from academic journals. However, there are 4 from magazines and 1 from a trade publication. So I can choose only academic journals. In which I get 25 results. I can also change my dates if I wanted to. Well, let's take a look at what we have. I have anti-epileptic drugs for neuropathic pain and fibromyalgia. That actually sounds really good. And you can see here that this was published in JAMA. So this is actually a Medline journal that came up. Systematic reviews published in October 2013 issue of Cochrane Library. We will be discussing Cochrane Library in just a little bit. It's another article, Modulation of Cold Pain Perception by Transcranial Direct Current Stimulation in Healthy Individuals. Here's a specific one to a specific drug, adverse event profile of lacosamide. I also see an article called Optimizing Fibromyalgia Management. And I can see that this one was published in Nurse Practitioner, which is not a journal that's indexed in Medline. So to see if the library has it, I would click on the article linker for the full text. And I do see the article is available. Again, I click on article. And I can read the article through the HTML, or I can get the article as a PDF. So again, when you use Academic Search Premier, you will get articles that are indexed outside of Medline, such as in nursing journals and other allied health journals. So these are all of the databases that EBSCOhost provides the university. CINAHL is another database we can choose to use. If I click CINAHL and click OK, CINAHL provides indexing of top nursing and allied health literature that's available in nursing journals and publications from the National League for Nursing and the American Nurses Association. CINAHL stands for Cumulative Index to Nursing and Allied Health Literature. And it covers a wide variety of topics, including nursing, biomedicine, health science, librarianship, alternative complementary medicine, consumer health, and 17 allied health disciplines. In addition, CINAHL provides access to healthcare books, nursing dissertations, selected conference proceedings, standards of practice, audiovisuals, and book chapters. CINAHL operates very much like Academic Search Premier, where I can choose to search under CINAHL headings for specific subject keywords, or I can just type in a keyword and choose that to appear in any of these drop-down fields, such as all text, which is the default, title, I can search for a specific author, exact subject heading, a journal, and all of these other characteristics of an article. So again, in CINAHL, I can use this to search for articles that are potentially from journals that are not indexed in Medline. So optimizing fibromyalgia management and nurse practitioner looks like a good article. And again, we saw a lot of these in the other search we did. Management of Fibromyalgia from Drugs and Therapeutics Bulletin. This is a publication out of Britain. It's a very good publication and gives you a summary of drug therapy. Let's see if the library contains this article. So again, I do click on article linker and I see that it's not available. So let's go back and explore the Cochrane database. So I know I saw a systematic review published in October 2013 issue of the Cochrane Library. So let's click on Check Article Linker for full text. And yes, the library has this article. And I can see that it was published in the Journal of Pain and Palliative Care Pharmacotherapy. But I'd like you to investigate the Cochrane Library itself. So let's go back to the House Science Library and choose Cochrane Library. And then the Cochrane Library is a collection of several databases. Included in this Cochrane Library are the Cochrane Database of Systematic Reviews, which is generally the database we will use in pharmacy, but we also have other databases. We have other reviews, DARE, which is the database of abstracts and reviews of effects. We have methodology studies. We also have technology assessments, economic evaluations, and information about the Cochrane groups, or the persons that actually do these reviews. But let's go back up to search the Cochrane Library, and let's put in anticonvulsants and fibromyalgia. And you can see I get one review, anticonvulsants for fibromyalgia, which is the same one we saw in Sentinel. It was published in October 2013. So again, the Cochrane database of systematic reviews is just one part of the Cochrane Library. This database includes full text information of systematic reviews prepared by members of the Cochrane Collaboration, a non-for-profit organization of 31,000 contributors from more than 120 countries. The group is based in England. Contributors work to produce systematic reviews of health care interventions. Reviews that are currently in progress and the expected date of completion are also listed. Data from 1975 to the present is updated quarterly. These evidence-based reviews about therapy are very well known in the medical literature and highly regarded because data is based upon extensive review and analysis of current literature. So let's click on anticonvulsants for fibromyalgia. And what you get up is a summary of the systematic review. So you get an abstract defining this review, the background, the objectives, the methods, selection criteria, data collection, main results, author's conclusion. What I recommend is students read the plain language summary to determine whether or not they're interested in reviewing the full text of the review. So we can see that key results, pregabalin compared with fake medication after an average of 13 weeks. So that's like placebo. That pregabalin slightly reduces pain and seat problems seen in fibromyalgia. It slightly reduces fatigue. It increases medication side effects, particularly dizziness, and does not differ from fake medication in serious side effects. So another part of these reviews I like, you can read the article itself. So this is a link to the full text article. And here I have a summary of my findings. So you can see here the first summary is pregabalin versus placebo at final treatment of fibromyalgia. And then you have more detail about how the review was done. You also have a description of the figures, and it will show you a study flow diagram. So we can see that they identify 710 records through database searching, and 2 additional records were identified through other sources. They removed duplicates. They screened the records for inclusion and exclusion data, which left 10. 2 of the full texts were excluded with reasons, and 8 were included in the study. You can also look at the risk bias graph. Again, Cochrane is very good because they do such a great job assessing all aspects of the study. So here they're looking at bias. So you can see the green is low risk of bias, and red is high risk of bias. And you'll learn more about bias in your literature evaluation course. You can also review tables in this systematic review, characteristics of the included studies, and you can see some comparisons with other anticonvulsants, the references, and these are listed alphabetical, and you can see who cited this systematic review. And no citations yet, because this was just published not too long ago. If you choose the full version of this review, it will be many pages. So this is the full version of this review. And we can see that it's 94 pages long. So again, that's why I do recommend reading the plain language summary first, which is found in the abstract information, to see if this interests you. And then to start pulling the full text article and to review it. So again, I would go to Cochrane Library when I want to see if there's any evidence-based systematic review done on the subject. So in case you don't know, a systematic review is a type of a study in which there are inclusion and exclusion criteria, and the authors are looking for published data, so like randomized controlled trials, to include in their review. So the next database I want to just talk briefly about the next database I want to talk briefly about is Google Scholar. Google Scholar is an online, freely accessible search engine that allows users to access full-text articles and article citations and abstracts. You need to enter Google Scholar through the library site in order to retrieve full-text articles in which the library subscribes to. Google Scholar will search scholarly literature from articles, theses, books, abstracts, court opinions, academic publishers, professional societies, online repositories, universities, and other websites. As you can tell, Google Scholar provides information on from lots of sources. I only use Google Scholar as a last resort. So if I was interested in locating information on Google Scholar, I would type in my keywords. And what's important here is to remember that when you have a phrase, to enclose that phrase in quotes. And is the default Boolean logic operator. You don't need to include and in your search. So if I wanted to look at anticonvulsants and fibromyalgia, I would just put in anticonvulsants, fibromyalgia, and you can see here I get 6,380 results. So again, if I was interested in one specific drug, I would type that drug name in. If I'm interested in a protocol, I would put protocol in, or guidelines. So again, let's just put in guidelines and see what we get. So that almost cut these results in half to 3,620. That is still way too many articles to go through. So what I suggest is then limiting the time. So let's just see since 2014, and I have 295 articles. So to see over here, if you see a PDF, that means you are able to get the PDF. But if I don't know whether or not the library has it, I click on the title, And I just clicked on anti-epileptic drugs for neuropathic pain and fibromyalgia, and I see that it's from JAMA. From the JAMA network. I see that it was published in JAMA 2014, issue 312, page 182. Are anti-epileptic drugs associated with reduced pain intensity in patients with neuropathic pain or fibromyalgia? Now I know, see, it's not linked to the library, so it would have me buy this, but I know the library subscribes to JAMA. So again, I can go back to the library site. And I can search by journal name. Title begins with JAMA. And it comes up, Journal of the American Medical Association. So it says 1998 to present, so I click on American Medical Association. And it brings me to the current issue. However, I want issue 312, number 2. So I click all issues. And I look for volume 312, number 2. And once I find that, I click on that title, which happens to be July 9th, 2014. And again, if I use my Control F and look up anti-epileptic, I come to the article, Anti-Epileptic Drugs for Neuropathic Pain and Fibromyalgia. I can click on that title. And here I can read the HTML, or I can download the PDF. So again, with Google Scholar, I don't really like to use Google Scholar a whole lot. However, I will use it occasionally. So the last resource I would like to discuss is Wikipedia. A wiki is a website that allows users to create and edit information. The most commonly used wiki is Wikipedia, a user-driven encyclopedia. Anyone can create and/or edit a page in Wikipedia. Information contained in Wikipedia has been found to be inferior to other online available resources. Additionally, information is often incomplete, especially data about drug interactions and contraindications. So again, I don't want you to use Wikipedia, and I don't want to see Wikipedia used as a resource for any of your drug information questions. So for example, I will just type in a new drug that has been just FDA approved. Albiglutide. And Wiki does give you a little bit of information about it. However, as you can see here, this is all the information it provides. I don't have anything about drug interactions or any specifics. I will sometimes use Wiki to look at their references to see what else they're referencing. So here they are referencing Forbes and a GlaxoSmithKline purchase of the Human Genome Sciences. But in general, I don't use Wikipedia, and I don't want to see you using Wikipedia. So again, just to remind you, primary literature is original research. It is the most up-to-date resource of drug information and consists of journal articles reporting original research and new ideas. It does not include review articles or editorials. Primary literature can be found in journals, and journals can be classified according to several criteria. These include the types of articles published, the scope of the articles, the readership, sponsorship or financial structure, quality, means of acquiring manuscripts, and editorial policies of the journal. Some journals are specific to a disease condition, such as the journal Heart. Other journals you have to pay to have your article published in that journal. So again, there are lots of types of journals, and to find out more information about what type of articles those journals accept, you need to go to their authors page. Every journal will have information about how authors can publish in their journal. And as I mentioned, the scope of articles, journals can be categorized according to either their focus within a specific clinical or scientific discipline or general subject matter. Specialty journals include circulation and diabetes. Other journals can be more general in scope, such as the journal Science or Nature. General clinical journals can include Annals of Internal Medicine and New England Journal of Medicine. Readership journals can also be categorized based on the readers they target. American Journal of Health System Pharmacy is targeted specifically to pharmacists, whereas the Journal of Family Practice targets family physicians. We also pay attention to sponsorship or financial structure. Journals can be nonprofit or funded by scientific or professional societies or institutions. Some are for-profit commercial publishers such as Pharmacy Times or Drug Topics. The quality of the information in a journal is very important. Some journals are considered light reading and meant to be thrown away. Others are bound in the library and are considered archival quality. Journals are so called because they have consecutive numbering of pages within the issues published in one calendar year. Magazines do not have consecutive numbering of pages from issue to issue. Now in Medline, you have to meet specific criteria in order for your journal to be carried by Medline. Critical elements include scope and coverage. The journals brought to the committee for review will contain articles predominantly on core biomedical subjects. The quality of content. Scientific merit of a journal's content is the primary consideration in selecting journals for indexing. The validity, importance, originality, and contribution to the coverage of the field of the overall contents of each title are the key factors considered in recommending a title for indexing, whether the intended purpose or audience. The quality of the editorial work. The journal should demonstrate features that contribute to the objectivity, credibility, and quality of its contents. These features may include information about methods of selecting articles, especially on the explicit process of external peer review, statements indicating adherence to ethical guidelines, evidence that authors have disclosed financial conflicts of interest, timely correction of errata, explicit responsible retractions as appropriate, an opportunity for comments and dissenting opinion. Neither the advertising content nor commercial sponsorship should raise questions about the objectivity of the published material. Sponsorship by national or international professional societies may be considered. The production quality is very important. Quality of the layout, printing, graphics, and illustrations are considered in assessing a journal. The audience. Medline is intended primarily for those in the health professions, researchers, practitioners, educators, administrators, and students. The phrase health professionals includes physicians, nurses, dentists, veterinarians, and many types of allied health professionals in research and healthcare delivery systems. The type of content. Journals whose contents consist of one or more of the following types of information will be considered. Reports of original research. Original clinical observation accompanied by analysis and discussion. Analysis of philosophical, ethical, or social aspects of the health professions or biomedical sciences. Critical reviews. Statistical compilations. Descriptions of evaluation of methods or procedures. Case reports with discussions. Publications that consist primarily of reprinted articles, reports of association activities, abstracts of the literature, news items or book reviews are usually not indexed. Foreign language journals. Criteria for the selection are the same as those written in English. And lastly, geographic coverage. The highest quality and most useful journals are selected without regard for a place of publication. In order to provide broad international coverage, special attention is given to research, public health, epidemiology, standards of healthcare, and indigenous diseases. Journals will generally not be selected for indexing if the contents are subjects already represented in Medline or that are being published for a local audience. Other considerations you should take into consideration when you're reviewing an article are the journal economics. Some journals are nonprofit and others are for-profit. Some derive their revenues from voluntary or involuntary subscriptions. You may have to pay to get your article published in that journal. The primary source of a journal's revenue is through advertisement. Some also obtain support from sponsoring organizations. The journal impact factor. The impact factor of a journal is a quantitative measure of the frequency, on average, with which articles in the journal have been cited in a given period of time. The higher the impact journal, the higher the impact that journal has in the medical community. Pharmacy journals. I will evaluate and show you how you can review pharmacy journals in just a moment. Evaluation of the primary literature. You should consider not only the research methodology, including statistical analysis, but also the journal impact factor, if the journal is peer-reviewed, and the sponsorship of the study. Just to remind you what a peer review process is, the peer review process uses experts in the medical specialty to review article submissions. These experts provide comments to the author, who then makes changes and resubmits an article. Unfortunately, the intent of this process is sometimes abused. Experts may be biased to either the content or author. This process also tends to keep marginal papers from being published. In addition, if expert reviewers are not versed in statistical methodology, paper with faulty statistics may be published. Also, if the reviewers fail to take in time and carefully review the paper, errors may be published. Some authors may abuse the publication process. They may divide one research project into separate publications rather than a single unifying publication. They may also publish the same research in more than one journal or literature source. Some may also publish fraudulent findings. Lastly, we want to consider the study sponsorship. It is costly to carry out original research. Grants are available from nonprofit organizations and the government. Money is also available from pharmaceutical companies. The source of the funding for the original research can increase pressure to produce positive results. However, not all results from original studies funded by pharmaceutical companies should be considered biased. So just because a pharmaceutical company sponsors a study does not mean that study is biased. Careful scrutiny of the entire article is needed before stating that the pharmaceutical sponsorship is a downfall of the study. I'd like to show you in the Health Science Library site how you can review top pharmacy journals. So under the Guides tab, if you type in pharmacy, what will come up is a pharmacy resource portal that the librarian at the Health Science Library put together. So here are some tabs. A survival guide for pharmacy school, a review on finding articles, finding books, societies and professional groups, browse top journals, which I will be going over in just a moment, and then also suggested sites. And these are websites. So let's go back to browse top journals. So these are the top pharmacy and pharmacology journals by the JCR impact factor. So as you can see, the #1 journal is Nature Reviews Drug Discovery. And then we have Annual Review of Pharmacology and Toxicology. So maybe we just want to browse through Pharmacology and Therapeutics. So I would just click on that title, and it brings me to the library, and I choose the one that says To Present. So I click on the Science Direct, and I will get the most recent issue of Pharmacology and Therapeutics. I can then browse through the table of contents to see if anything interests me. So again, this pharmacy resource portal can be helpful when you just want to browse through to look at top pharmacy journals. So I would like to talk a little bit about the primary literature. And again, I am referring to original research. The primary literature is generally organized with an abstract that has an introduction, a methods, results, and conclusion, and an article. And within the article, you also have an introduction, methods, results, and conclusion, but you have a background section and a discussion section. The abstract is a brief overview of the research project. The introduction, you get research background and clinical trial objective. In the methods, you usually see study design, patient inclusion and exclusion criteria, intervention and control group definitions, randomization, blinding, endpoints, follow-up procedures, sample size calculations, power analysis, and statistical analysis. In the results section, you see subject characteristics, dropouts and compliance, endpoints, and safety assessments. The discussion section will usually, the authors provide their opinion as to how to interpret the results and what other studies have shown with their results. Lastly, I would like to discuss the AMA style citations for journal articles. The basic format for a journal article is the last name, first initial, second initial, if no more than 3 authors, followed by the third author's initials by ETAL. Okay, scrap. Here we go. Start again. Lastly, I'd like to mention the AMA style citations. The basic format for an article is the author's last name followed by the first initial and second initial. If there are more than 3 authors, you follow the third author's initials by ETAL, period. You then provide the title, written in sentence case, followed by a period, the National Library of Medicine abbreviation for the journal, followed by a period. Then you have the year, followed by a semicolon, the volume, followed by the issue in parentheses, then a colon, then the page numbers that are inclusive, and a period. So for example, the correct way to state authors using AMA style is the author's last name, then first and second initial if provided, a comma, space, and if I have more than 3 authors, I follow the third author by an ET space AL, period. For the title, I need to write the title using sentence case, in which you only capitalize the beginning word. You are to capitalize all proper nouns. For the journal name, you need to use the accepted National Library of Medicine abbreviation. And I left you a link for you to look up these abbreviations. And the example I have here is the New England Journal of Medicine. It's incorrect to state NEJM. The correct abbreviation for this journal is New space ENG space J space MED, period. When there are more than 3 authors, you want to have the third author followed by an ETAL. So in this example, I've provided you the correct way to write an AMA style journal citation. When you have 3 authors or less than 3 authors, you simply put a period after the last author's name. So in conclusion, locating the primary literature is an art. You have many sources available from which to begin your search. Keep in mind the requester and the information needed. This will help you to determine the best source for your search.